If I were you, Alice, I'd put those buttons about a half-inch in.
Keep working on the hem, and I'll sew on the buttons.
You know, Janet, there isn't a bride in that entire magazine can hold a candle to you.
Of course, Aunt Rose. Those brides didn't have you for a seamstress.
Oh, you and your flattery. It's little wonder that you captured such a prize. Oh, dear, I'm out of thread. Oh! Why don't you slip out of this while I run and get the thread?
Okay, Aunt Rose. Oh, you really think he'll like it, Mother? I doubt if he'll even notice it. Mother. Mom, how did such a wonderful fellow ever fall in love with me? Men have been falling in love with you since you were 3. But choosing the right man is the most important thing that a woman ever does, isn't it? Yes, and choosing one that's worthy to take you to the temple.
Alice, where did you hide the thread?
Oh. What did I do with that? I'll come down. Oh, darling. How proud I am of you. So clean and strong. Mother's happy you are worthy. But what about me? She'll never know how close I came to being denied the greatest of all blessings. I shall always be thankful to my Heavenly Father for those wonderful people who pointed the way for me. For without them, darling, I'd never have had you. It seems only yesterday that I was a beehive girl, and even then popularity was almost an obsession with me. Being one of the crowd was the most important thing in the world, and it didn't particularly matter if it was the right crowd or the wrong one. I remember Betty Fraser and Babs Pearson, 2 of the most popular girls in junior high. Well, I know I missed it last Tuesday, Babs, but gee whiz, kid, if I keep doing this, someone's sure to tell my folks. I know, but you know how old-fashioned my mother is about these things. Oh, she'd simply have a fit if she knew I were ditching Mutual. You did? That real cool jazz number? Oh, crazy. Neat. Oh, I'll simply die if I don't hear it, Babs. Listen, I'll tell you what. I'll meet you at 7:30, okay? But, Babs, we've got to be home by 9:30 or my folks will really lay down the law. Okay? Bye. Man, I gotta take 5. Boy, am I beat. Oh, thank you. Oh, Babs, I'm really thirsty. Have you got any pop or anything in the house? Are you kidding? It's impossible to keep anything around here with my kid brother. He drinks up everything. Well, let's go down to the service station and get some from the machine then. Oh, swell. Neat idea. Let's go. Come on. Yes. Well, what do we have tonight, kids? I want a lemon lime. Let's see. I'll take an orange. Okay, orange it is. Hey, look, 2 for the price of 1. Oh, it must be broken. Let me. Too bad. Only 3 for 1 dime. Directions. Insert coin, then slide bottle along dotted line. Oh, we get ours free. Here, Jen. Well, thanks. I think I'd rather pay for mine. Not me. I get a kick out of outsmarting these dumb clucks. What, no movie magazine? What can you expect? This is a service station. Yeah, I guess so. Hey, look what somebody left here. Ever try one? No. You? We could go around behind Murphy's store. We need some matches. There should be some around here somewhere. Yeah, let's look around. we'll pass it down. Gee, am I clumsy?
What's up, girl?
We were looking for some matches. We have to go to a rainy roast and we need matches.
Okay, let's have them.
Have what?
My cigarettes. It's against the law for minors to have them in the first place. The second place, you stole them. I think I'll just call a cop.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Here.
There, that's more like it. Say, aren't you Will Howard's little girl?
No. I mean, yes.
I'll bet he doesn't know what you're up to. I have half a notion just to call him.
Oh, please don't call him. I didn't mean to do
Now
it.
listen, you kids. Get on home where you belong. Don't let me catch you around here again.
Oh, what'd you let him scare you for? He wouldn't have done anything.
Oh, forget it. Hey, Murder in the Dark comes on at 8:30. Let's go. Well, if you kids don't mind, Mutual's just about out, and I think I'll go on over and walk home with the kids.
Okay. So long, Jan.
Bye.
See you later, Jan.
Helen! Hi, Jan. Where have you been? Sister Stanley's been asking where you were. She says that she's going to call your mother. My mother? What for? I've got to talk to her. She's still inside.
Hi, Janet.
Oh, Sister Stanley, Helen said you're going to call my mother. What you want to talk to her about?
Oh, I was going to call your mother to see if you'd like to go to the canyon with us Friday and Saturday.
Oh, I'd love to go with you. And I'm awfully glad I got to talk to you before. Well, I mean about it. That was the most perfect trip. It was the first time I'd ever been in the mountains with girls my own age. Then, too, it was there that I really became acquainted with Roberta Stanley. That first morning, Roberta and I awoke before the others, and she took me on sort of a nature ramble. She was wonderful. She was a big sister as well as a teacher. She could cook and swim, but most of all, she taught me to understand beauty and to feel real joy. But more important, she instilled in me a love of the beauties and grandeur of nature, which I know will always remain with me. She'll never know how much her talk around the campfire that night meant to me. She talked about the old-fashioned virtues of honesty and chastity in such a straightforward, personal way that the lesson really sank in. So many of the things she stood for became a part of me. My newfound enthusiasm for Mutual, which had started in the Beehive program, carried over into the Miamaids. That is, it did till I met Ted Morris. Ted was a senior and a top football man. I just couldn't believe it when he started dating me, a lowly sophomore. Ted wasn't a member of the church, but that didn't seem to bother me too much. Somehow I had the idea I could convert him when the time came. He seemed so glamorous compared with the boys at Mutual. The Golden Green Ball was coming up, and oh, I did so want Ted to take me. I remember how thrilled I was when he took me. I was so proud of the decorations that I'd helped prepare. The orchestra, the atmosphere, the floor show, everything seemed so perfect. But Ted was bored with it all. Before I realized what was happening, Ted was escorting me from the dance for a rendezvous with some of his friends at a little spot out of town.
a neat place. Just everybody's here.
I don't see anyone here I know. None of the high school crowd are here, Audrey.
Take a look in that corner.
Say, aren't those the fellows who got their names in the paper? What I mean is, they don't have a very good reputation.
You show a reputation, Conscious.
Yeah, why don't you just relax? Hey, waiter. What are you gonna have, baby?
The usual. How about you two?
I'm not very hungry, thanks.
Get her. Who said anything about eating?
They make hamburgers. If that's what she wants, that's what she'll get.
Hey, waiter.
Okay, kids, what do you have?
I'll take a lemonade, thank you.
Come on, Janet, don't be chicken. Make her the same as ours, Harry. She'll drink it all right.
No, really. All I want is a lemonade.
Bring an extra beer, Harry. If she won't take it, Bill will.
Hey, let's go. What do you think?
Sure.
Hi, Ted. How about a dance?
Aw, come on, she won't mind.
Be right back, Jan.
How had I ever gotten into such a spot? What would my folks think if they knew? The Golden Green Ball was so lovely, and Ted wasn't even impressed. I wasn't very impressed with him by this time, even if he was a senior and a football hero. Anyone who'd prefer this place to our Golden Green Ball was lacking somewhere. I felt so cheap and embarrassed. I just had to get out of there. What was it Sister Howell said on the Dear to My Heart evening? Girls, don't put yourself in a spot where you may have to compromise. If you do find yourself in such a position, get out of it quickly.
Where are you going, Jan?
I'm going home, Ted.
Why?
I suppose I should tell you I have a headache or something, but I'm not going to. I don't like this place. I'm miserable here, and I want to go home.
Look, we just got here.
You don't have to take me. I'll phone someone to come and get me.
Relax, I'll take you.
Where are you going?
I'll be right back. I'm taking Janet home.
What are you going home for?
Because I like it there.
Get her. What a square.
I never kept a diary, but indelibly written on my memory are certain special nights. It was at an interstate basketball game that I first met Kent. I knew he was Lloyd Eldridge's cousin, so naturally I made it a point to chat with Lloyd.
I looked all over the place for you. I wanted to treat a dance. You must have skipped out early.
Well, we did leave a little early, Lloyd. You see, I was with Ted. and
Hi,
you know-
Cuz.
Oh, hi, Kent. Great game.
Well, yeah, yes, it was.
This is Janet. Janet, this is Kent Wright.
Hello.
Hi.
Where are you two going? I thought if you were going someplace for a hamburger, I'd like to come along.
Oh, well, Lloyd and I aren't together. Oh, what I mean is, we were just talking.
Well, that's better. Still, how about you and I going someplace, okay?
Oh, I'd love to, only Lloyd was...
Oh, Lloyd won't mind. If I know he'll need to go and study.
What kind of study's done?
Just a deep, burrowing bookworm, this boy. See you around sometime, fella. And thanks for the intro.
Bye, Lloyd.
Well, how do you like that?
Kent was 19 and the smoothest fellow I'd ever met. There wasn't anything he couldn't do well. Skiing, dancing, swimming, just name it and he could do it. I was so crazy about him and I didn't have to be talked into going steady. And I do mean steady. As time passed, we were together almost every single night. Mother was beginning to worry. We'd been keeping such late hours.
Janet, you're not going to miss church again tonight.
Oh, Mom, it's so stuffy in church. Besides, Kent wants to go up in the canyon. His uncle lives up there.
But it's been 4 weeks since you were at a sacrament meeting.
We'll probably go next time, Mom. Hi, Kent.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Kent. Now, Janet, I want you in early tonight.
Okay, Mom. We'll try not to be too late.
give you a lift. You need a truck.
Hi, Sister Wellman. Are you sure it won't be out of your
Oh,
way?
not at all. Come on around and get in.
Oh, thank you.
I know, Janet, you've had a perfectly wonderful excuse, but I'm just selfish enough to want you in my class. You're the best bait I've got.
What do you mean, bait?
When you're working toward your silver gleaner, all the rest follow suit. When you're not, for some reason, interest lags.
Oh, it isn't that I don't enjoy your class. I really do, but, well, it's just that...
I know. You're in love. When do you plan to be married?
Oh, we haven't talked about marriage. We just like being together. What I mean is...
Of course you do. That's a perfectly natural thing. But it can also be very dangerous.
Dangerous?
You're two young, healthy people in love. What starts out to be a wonderful thing can very easily get out of control and wreck your lives. Play it smart, darling. Take him to Mutual and to church. Try and spend as much time as possible with other people. Then be sure that those intervals when you two are alone are brief. That's the only safe way, I know.
I guess I better be going in.
It's been nice seeing you again, Janet.
Thanks for the ride. Goodbye. I'll be seeing you. Ken, it's getting late. We'd better go.
It isn't even 12 o'clock yet.
But it was after 1 o'clock before we got home last night. I mean it, Kent. You've got to take me home.
Okay. On one condition. That you pack a lunch, and after I get off work tomorrow, we drive up the canyon.
But you promised to take me to Mutual.
In the summertime? Oh, wait till basketball starts.
Oh, Kent, you never take me to church. You keep saying
after
you're
we're
going...
married, then we'll go to church.
You promised, Kent. We've at least 20 miles to drive before we get home.
Okay, have it your own way.
The next day, Kent was called out of town, so I went to Mutual. It just so happened that the lesson was on temple marriage.
Now, girls, I'd like to pose this question. What are the 3 most important dates in your life?
Any date's important in my life.
Seriously, I'll put it another way for Peggy's benefit. What are the 3 most important days in your life? Rosalie?
The day a girl gets married.
Good. Now, that's one of them. Who can point out the others? Catherine?
I suppose the day one is born and the day one dies.
You are so right, Catherine. Now then, we can't do much about numbers 1 and 3, but we certainly can have a great deal to say about our marriage. Girls, never settle for anything less than temple marriage. If a man doesn't love you enough to want you forever, it's a pretty good indication that he's not the right man for you. And don't be so unwise as to think marriage will change him. Of course, he'll make promises. But if he doesn't give up his bad habits for you now, there's less than a 10% chance that he'll give them up for you after he's got you. Remember, girls, temple marriage is the most important thing that will happen to you in your entire life. And don't spend the rest of your life regretting that such a marriage might have been yours.
Not tonight, Ken. I just don't feel like it.
Okay, okay. What's the matter with you, Janet? Lately you've become nothing but a worrywart.
I'm not worrying.
Yes, you are. You worry if we don't go to church, worry when we go to shows on Sunday. You used to be fun.
Oh, I've had lots of fun with you, Kent, but never when I was doing those things that I knew I shouldn't.
You got a busy little conscience, haven't you?
Can't help it. That's the way I am.
Oh, better watch out. You'll be sprouting wings. Oh, look, Annie, quit torturing yourself. Unwrinkle that pretty brow. Don't think I want to marry an old lady, do you?
Kent, I notice you've been talking a lot about marriage lately, but you haven't said when or where.
Tomorrow, if I can talk you into it.
Kent, don't be silly.
You be all packed when I get home from work tomorrow, and we'll take off for Las Vegas.
Kent, I don't want that kind of marriage.
I trust a woman to want the frills.
I was thinking about a temple marriage.
Do we have to?
You mean you don't want to get married in the temple?
Might be okay 10 years from now.
That's the only way I'll ever get married, Kent.
You know, of course, I can't get a recommend.
Why not?
Well, I haven't been to church in months. I never paid any tithing. Besides, if you ask me, I think it's all a lot of hooey.
Oh, Kent, you don't mean that.
Oh, why is it so important?
If you don't know, there isn't much use in my trying to tell you.
Janet, let's not quarrel about trifles. I'm in love with you. I want to marry you. Let's take off for Vegas.
Kent, I meant it when I said I'd never marry outside the temple. It's getting late now, Kent. You better go.
When you change your mind, let me know.
The following Sunday night, I went to Stake Fireside. I'd secretly hoped that Ken might be there. I hadn't heard from him all week, but I felt sure that he'd eventually call me. I was ready to leave when...
Hi, Janet.
Oh, hi, Peg.
This, shrinking violet is Tim Morgan. You don't know it, but he's been trailing you for the past 48 hours.
Trailing me? Well, what do you mean?
Well, I told him you were going steady.
I saw you at the dance Friday night. And before I could get an introduction, why, you disappeared. And I came to your Sunday school this morning, but I didn't see you.
Well, I teach a junior Sunday school class.
I know.
What did you want to see me about?
Oh, I thought that if I was going to marry you, we should get acquainted.
Marry me? Now, wait just a minute.
Oh, he's not kidding, Janet. He really means it.
Of course I do. My mission president said that he'd give his returning elders just 6 months to get married. Well, I've been home 5 months, 3 weeks, and 4 days.
And 11 hours. Now, if you two honeymooners will excuse me, I'll be running along. Oh, Maury, oh, tempore, oh, love, where is thy sting? Boing.
That clown. Now, let's see, where were we? Oh, yes. Would you rather be married in Salt Lake or in St. George?
Now, listen, I don't
I'd rather lean toward St. George. Then we can go up to Zion's for a 2-day honeymoon.
You'll pardon me if I seem a little old-fashioned about these things, but you know, I'd never been proposed to in public before.
Well, I've never proposed to anyone in public before either. And you probably won't believe this, but I've never proposed to anyone before. I didn't intend to do it this way, and I know I've made a complete fool of myself, but please, can't I take you home?
Well, okay. I got to know Tim pretty well in that week that followed. On Monday, there was the ward outing in the canyon. Tuesday, mutual with the dance that followed. Then he took me to the drive-in for the double feature. Friday, his M-Men team played softball. And Saturday, he took me down to meet his folks.
Oh, Tim, it's just beautiful.
I'm kind of proud of it. Great-grandpa built it when he came over from England as a convert. Let's go in.
But you've got company.
No, what you see is just part of the Morgans. Mom had 12 of us. I have a couple married sisters who are out to break even her record.
Hi, Dougie. Hi, Karen. Oh, the dance. Hi, Mom. Sure. Hi, Mom.
My boy.
Mom, this is Janet.
Janet, we're certainly glad to meet you. My, we've heard so much about you.
Hi, sis.
Hello, Tim. Janet, this is Vivian and her chickadees. Hello, Janet. Why, you're even prettier than Tim said.
Thank you.
Now, I'd like you to meet Earl Laughlin, Vivian's husband.
Oh, I'd like
Come on,
to.
we'll go right over and find him. I'm so glad you liked it. You know, they can see here the colors going off there. A little bit faded.
Hi, Earl. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Janet, this is Earl Laughlin, Vivian's husband.
How do you do?
Earl? Happy to meet you.
Very nice to know you. Say, you're just about in time, boy.
An hour old. This is his day. He's not going to work today. He's our
All
special
right.
guest, you know.
Come on, Janet, let's go meet Grandma.
Oh, I'd
Well,
like
we'll
to
see you in a
excuse
little
us.
while. Yes, have fun. How's the ice cream? Is it
Oh.
nearly finished?
Hi, Grandma.
Oh, Tim.
Grandma, I want you to meet Janet Howard.
Hello, Tim. Come a little closer or I can have a better look at you. Uh-huh. And so this is the girl you're going to marry, Tim.
Grandma.
Well, why beat around the bush? Tim's 26. Grandfather was only 20 when he married me. I'd say he better put a rope around a pretty little thing like this before she gets away.
Tim hadn't talked much on the way home. I kept thinking about how embarrassed he'd looked when Grandma had said, "So this is the girl you're going to marry." He didn't seem at all like the glib young man I'd met at Fireside just a week ago. The next night he spoke at our ward sacrament meeting. It had been a long time since I'd heard anyone bear a testimony like he bore. It was still early when we got out, yet he took me straight home.
I guess I won't be seeing you for a while, Janet.
Oh?
I'm leaving for Fort Ord in the morning.
Fort Ord? You don't mean you joined the Army?
They sent me such a nice invitation.
But you haven't said a thing about it.
I know. I guess I should have, but... Well, I didn't want to admit even to myself that there were so few days left. And then, too, I thought you might think I was having my last fling. I even told the folks not to mention it to you. Janet, is it okay if I write to you?
Of course.
And another thing, see you don't take yourself up solid the weekends I get through basic.
In those weeks that followed, I found the most important man in my life was the mailman. Tim's letters were masterpieces of wit and humor, but never the slightest inkling in them that he was particularly interested in me. But as far as that went, I told myself, was I interested in him? After all, there was Kent. And even though I hadn't seen him in almost 2 months, he was still very much in my mind. Then one afternoon, Kent phoned. Hello? Yes? Why, yes, Kent, how are you? Yes, I am a little surprised. Oh, of course you can. 8:30? Okay, fine, Kent. Goodbye. Hello. This is Janet Howard speaking. Western Union? Just a minute, please. See if I... Okay, I'm ready. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Mom, come here quick.
Goodness, Janet, what's the matter?
Oh, Mom, I just received a wire from Tim. They're sending him to Fort Riley, Kansas, and he just has 1 hour here between trains. Oh, it's after 2 already. Mom, would you please get the car keys while I go get dressed? We'll have an hour to ourselves, I thought. But little did I know. After 500 embraces, Tim finally got to me. I got a handshake. The family started bombarding him with questions. How was the food? Were the officers nice to him? Did he think he'd like Fort Riley? Finally, he announced to his family that he was going to take me around the corner for a malt.
You'd think a man would arrange to have plenty of time for the most important thing he ever does in his life, wouldn't you?
What's that?
Well, the first time I saw you, I asked you to marry me, remember? I could have kicked myself 1,000 times since then.
Well, thank you.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that, well, a guy just doesn't get flip about a thing as sacred as marriage. The minute I said it, I realized I meant it, and that's why I haven't said another word about it since. Well, now, with just a few minutes before the train leaves, I'm asking you again. Only this time, I've never been more serious in my life.
I want to...
We couldn't get married until after I get out of the Army, maybe, but...
Tim, I've got to tell you something. Before I started going with you, I was going steady with another fellow. We had a quarrel, and I haven't gone with him since, but I have a date with him tonight.
Tonight?
Hey, Uncle Tim! Grandma says to hurry!
Okay, Butch, tell her just a minute. Well, after you see him, you'll know.
Give me your new address. Whichever way it turns out, Tim, I'll let you know. Dear Heavenly Father, I've got to make the most important decision in my life, and I need thy help. Somewhere I've picked up the idea that a girl can only fall in love once. I felt for a long time now that I was in love with Kent. I felt so sure that he'd finally come to see things my way. And maybe he has. Maybe that's what he's coming to tell me tonight. But even if he does, I'm not so sure now that he's the man I want to marry. I found so much that's fine in Tim. His testimony, the way he treats his family, and when he looks at me, I feel so, well, like wonderful music was playing all over. Only I don't know if it's excitement or if it's really love. I know how important marriage is, and I know the one I choose must be the right one. Help me, Heavenly Father, to know which one it is.
Oh, hi, Janet.
Hi. Oh, for me? They're lovely. Thank you so much, Kent. Why don't you sit down when I get a vase? Oh, aren't they beautiful? It's nice to see you again, Kent.
I guess you think it's funny my coming back like this, but I've been thinking it over and maybe you're right. What I mean is, if a temple marriage is what you want, it's okay with me too. What I really mean is, it doesn't make any difference to me one way or another. Well, what do you say?
I suppose I should feel highly complimented.
Well...
No, Kent. The only trouble is I'm not sure I still feel the same about you.
It's that Morgan guy, the returned missionary, isn't it?
Why, Sister Wellman, come in,
Hello,
won't you?
Janet.
met Kent, of course.
Yes, how are you, Ken?
Fine. Well, I've got to go. I'll see you around sometime, Janet.
Goodbye, Kent.
Janet, you look as though you'd seen a ghost.
Sister Wellman, if a man came to you and said he was willing to be married in the temple because it didn't make any difference to him one way or another, what would you think?
I think he'd be doing it because he'd know that was the only way he'd ever get you.
Well, telegram, Morgan.
Competitor out of the running. When next I see you, put your arms around me. And if I feel that I belong, then I'm willing to talk long-term contract. Janet.
Man, oh, man. What's the matter? Hey, you hurt yourself, buddy? Hey, you feel all right?
Me? Yeah, I feel great.
Haven't you got that dress off yet?
I'll wear it such a short time, I thought I ought to enjoy it.
Wallow around in it to your heart's content, but you'll press it, young lady.
Oh, Aunt Rose, did I ever tell you how grateful I am
For taking you with us to Fort Riley to see Tim last summer?
That's when I found out how wonderful Tim really is.
Don't thank me. Thank your folks. They didn't want an old maid on their hands.
Goodness sakes, Alice, what is it?
Well, Theo let me off today early, so of course I came right on down. How's everything?
Fine.
Where's Jan?
Upstairs.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Did you hear that, Jan?
Jan, it's me. Are you decent?
You can't see me. I'm in my wedding dress.
And who has a better right? Oh, isn't she beautiful? Just like an angel. And that's for having her.
Yeah, her dress is beautiful, isn't it?
Dress? I'm not looking at her dress. I'm looking at the girl I'm going to marry. The girl who's going to be my wife. Forever.
If I were you, Alice, I'd put those buttons about a ½ inch in.
Keep working on the hem, and I'll sew on the buttons.
You know, Janet, there isn't a bride in that entire magazine can hold a candle to you.
Of course, Aunt Rose. Those brides didn't have you for a seamstress.
Oh, you and your flattery. It's little wonder that you captured such a prize. Oh, dear, I'm out of thread.
Oh!
Father, for those wonderful people who pointed the way for me. For without them, darling, I'd never have had you. It seems only yesterday that I was a beehive girl, and even then popularity was almost an obsession with me. Being one of the crowd was the most important thing in the world, and it didn't particularly matter if it was the right crowd or the wrong one. I remember Betty Fraser and Babs Pearson, two of the most popular girls in junior high.
Well, I know I missed it last Tuesday, Babs. But gee whiz, kid, if I keep doing this, someone's sure to tell my folks. I know, but you know how old-fashioned my mother is about these things. Oh, she'd simply have a fit if she knew I were ditching Mutual. You did? That real cool jazz number? Oh, crazy. Neat. Oh, simply...
Why don't you slip out of this while I run and get the thread?
Okay, Aunt Rose. Oh, you really think he'll like it, Mother?
I doubt if he'll even notice it.
Mother. Mom, how did such a wonderful fellow ever fall in love with me?
Men have been falling in love with you since you were 3.
But choosing the right man is the most important thing that a woman ever does, isn't it?
Yes, and choosing one that's worthy to take you to the temple.
Alice, where did you hide the thread?
Oh. What did I do with that? I'll come down.
Oh, darling, how proud I am of you. So clean and strong. Mother's happy you are worthy. But what about me? She'll never know how close I came to being denied the greatest of all blessings. I shall always be thankful to my Heavenly Father.
Hear it, Babs. Listen, I'll tell you what. I'll meet you at 7:30, okay? But, Babs, we've got to be home by 9:30 or my folks will really lay down the law. Okay? Bye.
Take 5.
Boy, am I beat. Oh, thank you.
Oh, Babs, I'm really thirsty. Have you got any pop or anything in the house? Are you kidding? It's impossible to keep anything around here with my kid brother. He drinks up everything. Well, let's go down to the service station and get some from the machine then. Oh, swell. Neat idea. Let's go. Come on.